Hi, welcome to Party Food Hero. I'm Aaron. Today we're going to be making roast beef, which traditionally is used to make delicious sandwiches. So we're going to make a French dip roast beef sandwich on this episode. It's super juicy, super flavorful, really easy to make. Let's go check it out.
And here's what you need for a delicious roast beef sandwich. You need top sirloin roast, kosher salt, ground black pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, dried oregano, basil, crushed red pepper, bouillon cubes. So like I said, this recipe is extremely easy. You're going to add in your garlic powder, then you're going to put in your salt. It doesn't even have to be in this order. Then you're going to put in your crushed red pepper, some black pepper, then you're going to put in your oregano or basil. I don't know which one that one is. That looks like onion powder. And then your oregano or basil, whatever that is. And then all you're going to do is you're just going to mix it all up. And then as soon as you've had it all nice mixed together, we're going to put it on top of that amazing top sirloin roast that you have purchased. But before we put the rub on top of the roast, you just want to trim some of this fat off. I spent about maybe 2 minutes doing this, so just on both sides, just trim off some of the fat. You don't have to get super detailed into this, but if there's bigger chunks like there was right there, just take it off, and then you will be good to go to start rubbing it down with that rub. All right, so now you're gonna add on your rub. And you can put it on pretty liberally, but you want to be able to save about a tablespoon or two for the au jus sauce. I know I'm not saying that right. I'm so sorry. But the sauce that we're going to use to dip the meat in, you put a little bit of this seasonings or the rub into the juice. So don't use all of it, and you shouldn't need to. You definitely have made enough. But just, try and evenly get it onto all parts of the meat and then kind of pat it in like that. Look at that, patting it in. I forgot to film this part, but you're going to put the water into a tin pan like this with the bouillon cubes. And then kind of break up the bouillon cubes as best as you can. But don't worry about it too much, because once you cook the roast on top of this, the water gets hot enough where it'll just dissolve into the water. So just kind of give it a little bit of help by breaking it up in the beginning, but you don't have to worry too much about getting it completely dissolved in the beginning. And then you're going to put a cooking rack on top of the tin pan, and then you are going to put your roast on top of that. And the nice thing about this is as it's cooking, the juices will fall down into that pan and give you an amazing juice to dip your meat in when you make your sandwich. You absolutely do not need to use a smoker for this recipe, but if you have one, use it. It does give it a little different layer of flavor in there, but it's not huge, but I have it, so I like to use it when I can. I'm still terrible at the angle of where I need to put this camera, and I was talking to the phone, so sorry, I'm totally in this shot. But you're going to want to put a thermometer inside of the beef while it's cooking, and you want to get it up to around 130, 135. And as soon as that hits that temperature, you are good to go. And now that is what you want it to look like. That is a perfect color. It took about, I think it was like 2 hours maybe to get to 130 internal temperature. And then you're just gonna take it off. You are gonna wrap this in heavy duty aluminum foil, and I wrap it twice just to make sure nothing drips out into the refrigerator. And you're gonna let this sit overnight, because it's the best to let this kind of firm up, and then it's a lot easier to slice the next day. And this is what it looks like the next day. So what I like to do is cut this in half, and I use a meat slicer to slice up really thin slices of roast beef. You don't have to have one. You could use a knife just like this to cut small, very thin pieces as well. And this is what you're looking for on the inside. If you don't like it that rare, this is kind of what roast beef is. Look at any roast beef you buy from a store, it's going to be like this. But if you, for some reason, want it maybe cooked a little more, just have the temperature go up to, maybe 140, 145 internal temperature. But I really wouldn't go farther than that. You're also going to be cooking this a little bit more, not a lot, but at least warming it up in those juices. So that'll get rid of, if you don't like the pink color, I guess, it'll get rid of that pink color in the middle. I'm a crazy food person, so of course I have a meat slicer. Now, you definitely don't need to have one. In order to get really thin slices, all you want to make sure is that your roast is cold and you have a really sharp knife and you can get nice thin slices. Now, is it awesome having a meat slicer? Yes, because then I can do this really, really quickly. And there's some drawbacks with a meat slicer. It takes forever to clean. You have to take it apart to do a good job. Usually takes me around 10-15 minutes to clean it all when I'm done. But again, the benefit is you get these very perfectly thin slices of your roast beef that are just perfect for making sandwiches with.
All right, now for my favorite part of the video, I get to eat the food. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna assemble a French dip sandwich just how I do it. It might not be the most traditional way, but it is a very delicious way. So first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna grab the roast beef that we made and we're gonna put it in the au jus sauce. Au jus? I don't know exactly how you're supposed to say it, whatever. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put it in here and we're just gonna let it sit in here for just a little while. Not too long, minute or two. This isn't super hot, but what we wanna do is we wanna bring that roast beef, we wanna raise the temperature on it. So in the meantime, while that's warming up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of my horseradish sauce and I am going to put it on my French dip sandwich or on the bread because I love it. And so what I do too is I like to take out some of the bread on both sides. So just kind of get that bread out. And then what you do is you take your nice creamy horseradish sauce, unless you are super brave and like that straight up super spicy, no filter horseradish sauce. I know the Bundersons like it that way. So that's how we're gonna do this one, is with creamy, because I'm not as tough as they are. And I like how it just balances everything. Next, we're gonna take some provolone cheese, or a provolone, and we're gonna throw that on the bottom, kind of put it down, because what's gonna happen, we're gonna put the meat on top, and as we put the meat on top, it's gonna help melt down that cheese. You got yourself a nice juicy meat and melty cheesy sandwich that is amazing. So here we go. All right, so this should be done by now. I feel like I'm doing a news section, like a section on a news channel of cooking something. So sorry if I'm talking really fast. So we're gonna take this, and it depends on how juicy. If you like it like super juicy, you could just put it right on. I like mine juicy, not crazy juicy, but a good, I don't know, medium juicy. I don't know what it'd be. The meat itself is juicy, but we're getting a lot of that sauce on it too. So we're getting a lot of that au jus sauce just right up in there, and then you're done. Boom! Look at that. You got yourself a super delicious. I mean, you can put more in there. You want to put more in there? You can. There's no law about how much meat you can put inside your French dip sandwich. And I know one of the ways you do it as well is you take the whole sandwich and you dunk it in the juice. I kind of like to keep the integrity of the outside of the bread there. I don't know. So I don't like it completely soggy, but I could see why some people do. I get it. Just not exactly for me. But my gosh, this is so, I mean, look how juicy that is. Great, right when I say it, no juice come out. I'm gonna take a bite. You know what? I'm gonna audible. I wanna put more meat in. There's more meat in here. We'll put it in there, make a nice little mess. And then you find your happy place and you take a bite and let's see how it goes. All right, here we go. That is so good. That's amazing. It's, you can make it as juicy as you want, but there's just a ton of flavor in that juice. And the meat is, it's medium rare, so it's super tender. So you bite into the sandwich, first thing you get is obviously the bread, and then you start tasting the meat and then all of the different spices and herbs that we put on it. And it's just kind of just a burst of flavor. And then you get a little bit of that horseradish sauce in the back, little sting, little tang. And then you have a little bit of that, the provolone, the creaminess of the provolone. And it just all marries so good together. They're never getting divorced. That is a perfect union of a sandwich. That is so good. And it's not hard to make. You don't need the smoker. So I use a smoker that just adds maybe another layer, but you could do this in the oven just as easily and make an amazing French dip sandwich. So don't let me, putting stuff in the smoker deter you from making this. This is super easy to make. And you could make so many sandwiches. You could do sliders. This would be great for a party. You have this nice and warm. People come in, boom, make the little sliders. You have your horseradish sauce. You have your provolone cheese. You have your little pieces of, however you want, what kind of bread you want to use to make your sliders. And you got yourself a very unique sandwich bar. I've never seen one where you're making French dip sandwiches, maybe because it's kind of messy, but it's also delicious. So, verdict is you should definitely make this because it is absolutely delicious. I'm excited for this video to be over so I can eat the rest of it because it is amazing. If you enjoyed the video, if you learned something new, if you want to find your way back to this channel, hit like, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, tell your friends about it, tell your family about it. If you do make any of the recipes on this channel, give me a tag in it, just Party Food Hero, at Party Food Hero. And if you want to follow us on Instagram, it's Party Food Hero. If you want to go to the website, which has some extra recipes on there to kind of complement like this horseradish sauce, I have a recipe for that. Go to partyfoodhero.com for all the recipes and all the instructions and everything. So thank you for watching. And remember, be the Party Food Hero.
Be the Party Food Hero.
So good.